G'day. Today on the Action Shed, we're going to simmer down on the Daihatsu a bit and do some other stuff. Couple just turned up for the Fairlane, so we'll have a go at that. We're going to put some Daihatsu back in the Daihatsu. Alright, as I said before the intro, we're probably going to do a bit of work on my daily driver. It's a 77 ZH Fairlane. Wasn't supposed to be my daily, but I had some money I needed to get rid of, so the ex-wife didn't get it. And then I blew my patrol up, so it's a daily. Yeah, we're paused on the Daihatsu a little bit. Dead starter motor sort of halted that. I had a look at it. It shit the bush, the end of the armature, so it welded the armature to the magnets inside the casing. I pulled it apart, I cleaned it up, made a new bush, and it sounds like it's eating rocks, so that's not good. Lots of sparks out of the brushes, which is even worse, and it smells like it's making ozone. That's really bad. So I might have to send that to someone that just deals with starter motors and alternator old rebuilds, because I can't find another one. I've done a bit of measurements and I'm thinking an F20 starter might fit. The snout length looks right, and the diameter for the register into the block plate looks right. I'll have to change the bolt spacing. The big hold up is I don't know the F20 drive pinion diameter or the amount of teeth, the pitch. I have one. That's 3 hours away at my parents' house. So they'll have to wait until COVID just scooches down a smidgen before I can get up there. There's still a bit of stuff I can do on the Daihatsu. That'll probably be next video. I did buy a one of those pressure washer dustless sandblasters. I've actually got it over here. Ka-chow. I'll be using this to sandblast around the seam so I can see the spot welds, and then I'll drill them out. I've got a spot weld drill. It's actually a pretty cool one. You'll see that in the video. You don't have to buy a spot weld drill. You can make them. I've made them, but I'm lazy now. So we'll hit the F10 next bit. This one will probably be about the other random tomfoolery I get up to on my days off. I've got to kit a new whippersnipper up because it's bigger, badder, faster. I put my big race expansion chamber on it, and it's got a problem with the fuel filter. I will fix that. And I'll have to do some gardening because, yeah. And then when the grass is knocked down a bit, I'll probably show you a Sarge. Yeah, so I'll pop you off the tripod, I'll show you Lefties. He looks like a coat rack at the moment, but you'll sort of get the vibe. Yeah, let's do that. Alrighty, so here's leftovers. It is a 83 Daihatsu F65. It was quite rusty, so I've cut it, put the soft top hoop on it, got the whole roof off. So tough truck requirements are, if you're going to run a soft top, it has to have aluminium sheet as a minimum for the roof, and then I'll put the soft top over the top of that. I'm planning it to be more of a social rig, so I'm going to have either one seat, maybe two. I had a mate that done one with the passenger seat facing backwards, so you looked out the back of the car, but it got a bit hairy when you got drunk. So I'm aiming to go for one facing forward, and I'm thinking of using cage clamps and doing another back, like a square back, to protect the passengers, that I can take on and off when it's not competing. Not much to see. The go-to chassis at the moment is a Daihatsu chassis because it's thicker than a Zook and it's straight. I've tipped this one up at the nose to give me a bit more link clearance. This was originally going to be an LS1 buggy, but I needed money and space, so I sold the LS and went to a VG off my brother, which I got for free, so that's cool. hence the naming sake Leftovers. So yeah, there is the new whip. So I'll throw a pipe on that, and there's the dead starter motor next to my test battery and a mate's 9-inch. He actually blew the NCAP's 31 spline F100 9-inch rear centre. He cracked the LSD cap on it. So I've told him to buy a ARB air locker. So it was 2 months wait. So that's why I've got it here, because I've got to wait for the parts. Yep. Maybe I'll show you Sarge now. Okay, and this is Sarge. So he is an 80 Daihatsu F25. F25 being that it's a utility. Got him with a tub. The tub's full of rust because it was previously owned by a surfy dude. So the tub's off in front of the F10. That'll get rust repairs eventually. I've got to fold up practically the entire side of it. So that's annoying. Just got an alley tray on it for now for registration off a Hilux, a hack down. 25, meaning that it's supposed to be a petrol, but it isn't. It's got a 2LTE out of a Surf. Just standard turbo and everything. It's 12-pounder boost, nothing too special. They did option these as a Toyota Blizzard with the Hilux motor in the L series, so I done the Blizzard swap on this quite a few years ago. My brother blew the original L up, which is the 2.2 litre up, and then I sourced, the only motor I could find was a 2LTE, so I done a mechanical injector pump swap, put it in, drove around like that for a little while, and then the rust started getting pretty bad in it. So as you can see, the sheet metal's off the nose of it because I've had to do pretty extensive rust repairs to the firewall. I've also changed the whole bottom of the windscreen, the roof gutters, had the roof skin off, just the whole bunch. It never ends. So it's done now, it's ready for paint. As I said, I've got to wait for my air compressor to come back. So you'll probably see that either getting painted or on the tracks with a few mates blasting around. These will not be staying, little 31-inch BFGs. They were the first mud tyres I've ever bought. They've been on pretty much every Daihatsu I've ever owned for registration purposes. So they're going to be on it to get registered, and it'll come home and get 35 bolted back onto it. But you've got to conform a little bit, I suppose. It's a pretty cool truck. Always has been. Sort of been robbed of a couple of parts here and there to get my brother's F65 going, so it apparently doesn't have shocks or anything in it. But I'll just piece them together, get it registered and get it on the road. It's pert near, it's like that close. It's paint, throw a couple other parts at it, box it up, it's ready for rego. So that's alright. I can, because they did option these as a Blizzard, I can put this motor in it. I didn't have to move the engine mounts, didn't have to do anything funny, and it's only a blue slip for change of motor of power to go from petrol to diesel, so easy buy. So it won't be real hard, and I'll be blasting them around again. It's pretty fun back in the day. It's probably been off the road for about 8 years. I'll just fix the rust now, and then I'll be driving it in no time, and then there's more rust than you anticipate. So yeah, Project Snowball and all that. So yeah, we'll probably have a play with the whippy first, and then we'll fly into the Fairlane, because the carpet in that, it's the original carpet, it's starting to tear. And I ordered this carpet probably a month and a half ago, and only literally just turned up then when I was shooting the intro, which was pretty cool. And I'm over the moon to fit it, because the old carpet's just shit. The new carpet's going to be fucking awesome. If you've got a patina car, you've got to have a nice interior. That's just the way it goes. Alrighty. I was having a bit of a play with it before, and then I thought it might have been worthy of a YouTube video, because I haven't done any filming yet, so why not? Dad just has a habit of picking up random whippersnippers, eh? So he's got a fucking shed full of them at the moment, and he actually has a really gnarly Honda 4-stroke he found, and all it was is a split fuel line. And he kitted that up and he'd give it to Nan. It's like, I could have done with a 4-stroke whippy, but that's alright. And I spied this big girl sitting there, and he said, oh yeah, I was using it every day, and then he thought the fuel filter blocked up. So he just changed to one of the other 30 whipper snippers he's found. I pulled it out, the fuel line was in a knot, and the filter wasn't even in the bottom of the tank. So that's probably why it stopped working. So all I did was just shot down the buttons. I know it's Ryobi brand and this isn't a Ryobi, but it's all the same stuff. That's just a fuel system trick kit you can buy off the shelf. So it comes with primer bubble, new filter, a bit of line. So I'll change out the filter in the line, put it back in, then we'll pop the exhaust off and start putting the cool stuff on. Yeah. Why do these packets never rip right? Like a goddamn 2-year-old trying to get into a packet of fucking chocolate. Come on. There we go. There we go. Right. I'm probably not going to need the primer bubble. There's nothing wrong with the one that's on it, but can't have a spare. So I'll put that in the probably the same place that I put the brake master cylinder rebuild kit, in a safe spot, and lose it forever. Forever and ever and ever. Alrighty. For some reason they put like a little one of those little wing crimp bloody things on the fuel line. I don't think I've ever seen that on a whipper snipper before. So we'll reuse that. Excuse me while I just organise some tooling, because why do that before, you feel me? Might as well do it now. And we will cut that off. Come on, don't make me get angry. You're going to need a knife. Yep, you're going to need a knife. Let's get a knife. Where's my knife? There it is. Yeah. Where did I put that part? There it is. Damn it, I hate these safety razor blades. So annoying. That one's left over from the ex-wife. She worked at Bunnings. And boy howdy are they a pain in the ass. I'd probably cut myself more with a safety razor blade than a normal one, I'd reckon. But I'm probably going to cut myself now, to tell you the truth. Get out of there. Okay. Well, none of that's good, but we'll work it out. And we'll just cut that to the same length, roughly. We'll have a fucking smidgen of fuel line left over. I don't know if I'm going to change the line going to the carb. It's also very hard. Maybe I will. I've got enough line there. See how motivated I get, I suppose. Probably should have gone and got a hot cup of water or something to stretch this line over, because boy howdy is it being a dick. Come on, man. Alright, so predictably, the whippy doesn't work. It wasn't a fuel filter issue. I'm assuming my dad's probably had the carb apart and he's torn a gasket on the little diaphragm, fuel feed diaphragm. So it's sucking and blowing air, it won't pick fuel up. It runs on if you feed it fuel. So the engine works. So I'll buy a carb kit for that for now. So that's a future Chris's issue. And I'll leave that alone. So I feel like putting some carpet in the fairlane, because I've got it now. So I'll go do that. Yeah. Alrighty. Now, I've already started pulling this thing apart a little bit. Some reason Ford, in their infinite wisdom, decided to make the seat bolts go all the way through the floor pan. So, that's fun. That's just a pain in the dick. Golly. Come on, get out. One down. Jeez Louise. Right. Let's go and have a go at the other side. I'm sure it'll be just as fucking difficult. Take two. Really? Alright, what we done last time. Surprisingly, none of the ones on this side are bent. I don't know if that's saying something about me, or maybe it's just because there's only ever one occupant in this car. Yeah, we'll go with that one. They say you've got to stay in shape, and all rounds are shape, so fuck it. I like good food and I hate exercising. Really? Alrighty, now I ain't going to keep this rough ass looking horsehair shit in here. I scooped up some just that bi-butyl whatever sound deadener shit, it's like sticky back. So we'll clean this out. I'll have to go get me vac, suck up all the random shit in here, and then start rollering out a bit of that, then underlay, then jam the new carpet in here. So yeah, I'm sure this does not contain 40 years of farts and regret. Whew. My lantern, it's dusty as a son of a bitch. Oh god, that's gross. Yuck. Yuck. Oh my god. Oh, the front's even better. Ooh, yep, yes, oh, that's disgusting. Ugh. Get out. Ugh, scooch up here a bit more.
Oh, yuck. Golly. That's fucking disgusting. Get out. This is gonna need a clean. Alrighty, so that's the sound deadener done. It's probably the worst thing I've done in a long time. Yeah, it looks like a goddamn patchwork quilt, but that's just the way she goes, I suppose. So we'll jam. I've got carpet underlay with the carpet. It's not moulded though, so I guess the carpet shapes it. I don't know, it's fucking stupid. This whole job's turning into a real pain in the dick. So we'll throw some carpet underlay in it, I suppose, and yeah, forget I ever done this. Yep. This way. Go on, get her in there. Okay. Let's tackle all that down for now. You'd think the bloody carpet underlay would be moulded as well, but I guess it's not. So, hopefully it doesn't pucker up like all buggery. Ugh. Oh no, that looks like fucking shit. Alrighty, that's the carpet in. I had a buddy come over and he was borrowing some of my tools, so I couldn't do too much filming. No more rips on the edge. It's a bit puckery in spots. Should stretch in over time. Bit of sunlight on it and whatnot. Wasn't real happy with the fit. It's not the carpet mob I normally use. But you know, you come out alright. While I was there, I cut the original centre console mount out, so my fridge sits a bit flatter. It had like a bit of an L bracket back here somewhere, so it sat nose down, so I just cut that out. If I want to put the original one back in, I'll just tack it back to the floor, nothing too major. Yeah, it's not too bad. But boy howdy, was it a fucking pain in the ass. Golly. Look at how much of a bastard putting carpet into a car was. So, daylight's dropping now. We'll probably do the service tomorrow. I'm going to go and fly into a bit of roast, I think. So we'll catch you then. Alrighty, day 2 on the tune up a Big Booty Jerty, or Chernobyl, depends on who you talk to. So I've got oil and filter. I've got to change the return for the PCV valve and the air filter. I broke that a little while ago. I've got to pull a scotch of choke out of it because the weather's warming up. It wants to be a little bit leaner on the start. And these are a maybe. It's got an exhaust manifold leak. These are second hand. They come off this motor. When I changed it, I put new gaskets on it when I put the 351 in it, and then I put a set of Genie extractors on it, so I put a new set on it. About a month ago it shook a collector bolt out of the passenger side. Ever since then it's just had a tick coming out of one of the manifold gaskets, so I don't like exhaust leaks, so I'll probably change them, but they are a real pain in the ass to get to on a Cleveland. So that's a maybe. Definitely needs the rest of it though. So we'll have a go at that. Alrighty, you'd never guess it, but the other day I broke the bonnet pop cable on it, so I didn't have access to a Fairlane one, and I haven't bought one yet, but I did have an F21 laying around, so now the bonnet pops
just under the guard there because the cable's too short. Makes it easy, I suppose. Fresh oil aid in there. These older cars I always tend to use a diesel oil because they've got a higher detergent content in there, and also a mineral. Mineral oils you can blend, so say if you stake a hole in your sump in the middle of nowhere, you can just pick up whatever random mineral oil from the servo and put it in it. Synthetics you can't blend brand to brand either, so I just tend to stick to a mineral oil because it's just easier. I've punched 3 holes in this sump. It's now got an Aeromotive 8 litre capacity sump because it was thicker. I guess that's what happens when you just like living that low boy life, eh? Hopefully this funnel fits. Can't remember if I modified it or not. Oh, look at that. And watch me spill this all over the exhaust. I'm fucking good at that. Oh, it's actually going pretty good. So when I got this thing a couple of years back, it was the standard Fairlane 500 for it, so it was 302, FMX, so 3-speed auto, and the Borg Warner diff with the factory disc brakes. Unfortunately, the 302 decided to crack number 3 oil gallery, and it starved a block of oil in the middle of nowhere, so my cousin had to come and tow me back, which was a real pain in the ass. And the only engine I could find that weekend before I had to drive it to work was a 351 out of an F350 hay truck. It was $1,500 supposedly running. Put it in, and it was just misfiring like a bastard. Carrying on, pulled the intake manifold back off, and intake 6 on this side had a hung valve. I thought, oh, that's weird. Started having a look, had a bolt down it. When old buds pulled the engine out, I don't know, somehow I got a bolt down the carb, or the gas mixer because it was straight gas. Yeah, so I had to drive it for a week with a hung valve. I just sort of pieced it together, and then I took it for a test drive around my brother's block, make sure it was ready to drive 3 hours on, and the exhaust valve in cylinder 4 snapped the valve spring and dropped the valve. Luckily it was on idle, so all it did was bend the valve. It pulled parts out of the original 302, put it back together, so I had to drive it to work for a week while new valve springs and valves turned up, running on 7 cylinders-ish, and backfiring through the carb and carrying on. I ended up pulling the plugs off of those 2 cylinders to try and help it still run like a dog. I pulled a boatload of timing out of it just to try and get it to continuously run. Ever since then, it pressurizes the coolant system with compression, so that's why this hose is a bit sucked flat. So you look at the heads. To deck them, you're looking at $500, $700. It's cast iron seats, so you've got to run valve saver. Well, put stainless valves and stainless seats in it, you're probably looking at $1,000 there as well. Well, if you're going to put valves and seats in it, you might as well go to the 4V valves, the bigger valves, 2-inch exhaust outlets and that. There's probably another $1,000. I bought $3,000, I bought aluminium heads that are already spec'd up to that.
We'll take roller rockers, because that's the other thing. These are a stud shaft rocker. If you want to put roller rockers in it, you've got to machine the bosses out of the heads and then re-tap them, so you're looking at a couple $100 there at least. So $3 grand, alley heads. They're not on it yet because the deck height's higher, or the rocker seat height's higher, so I've got to order different hardened push rods, and I can't do that while it's currently my daily driver because it'll be down for like a week while push rods turn up. So I'm just putting up with the fact that I've got to put water in it every other day, but it does make it sound cammy as all fuck, so that's alright. We'll pull this air filter lid off, and I don't know, ever since I got it, I broke that the other week, so I've just been fuming itself down with oil there. Ever since I got it, through the settings changes, it's wanted either difference in timing or differences in choke. So I just adjust it so it starts better. It got so bad there for a little bit, it would backfire and then stick the choke flap shut, and then you'd have to get out here and then hammer on the choke flap like a madman in the middle of the road to get it to run again, which was really annoying. So let's try and stop that from happening. The carb's probably a bit small. It's only a 650 Holly, which is supposedly good for a 351. It was on the 302, run like a dream. Now it's on the 351. It's got a bit of a flat spot coming off idle. I could change the squirter jet and the carb and get it probably better. But with the bigger heads and everything, and extractors now, hotter plugs, I'll probably have to go up to a 700-800 Holly anyway. I'm no Holly tuning guru. I don't play with carbs all that much. I prefer diesels because it's like you put diesel in the tank and turn the key and it just does its thing, whatever it wants. So yeah, they say if you're going to change the squirter jet, you go up like 3 sizes, which is in thousandths of an inch. I think this has got a 28 in it, so I can go to like a 31 and it'll probably fix it. But yeah, I just give it the old double pump off the line there and she's good to go. So I'll grab my Philly pay. We'll pull a bit out of that, and then I'll go into the shed, sort out that PCV return into the air filter, and then we're progressing pretty good. So I might actually seriously think about doing those exhaust manifold gaskets. But golly, they're a real pain in the dick. Like the back ones are just up against the firewall, the pipes are tight in the bolt heads, it's just a pain. No. Alrighty, that's the manifold gaskets taken care of, service is all done, she's ready to roll for another week. So what you say, we zip out Mexico way and do a couple of cheeky first, second, third pulls there. Yep. And then I'll scooch this big girl down to the car wash because she's like dirty. And not cool dirty like a thumb in the butt, just filthy. Yeah, so we'll catch her once I scooch down into some more comfier clothes. Alright, let's turn that off because I look like a fucking idiot. This constant tick like a fucking raindrop hitting you in the goddamn eyeball. But you probably want dry sand, so I've got it out there drying at the moment. If it dries up, we'll give it a run. If it doesn't, I'll probably have to put it in the oven. Good thing I'm a bachelor.